Officer of the Day. As Kate wanted to do, she assigned different officers of the day, and she picked me for past president for this week. So I will start the meeting as she requested. Let's start off the meeting today with Pledge to the Flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Look at me being modern tech and having the flag in the background. Good for me. I'm in the modern world here. I may find some other pictures for later in the meeting. The inspirator, I just volunteer apparently, is Phil Russell.
Mr. Toastmaster, or Mr. Presiding Officer, I should say. I'm sorry, I already made my first mistake using members as opposed to mentors in a word. Yes, an inspiration for the great outdoors is where we are happiest, and picnics are the perfect way to enjoy it. Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate you stepping up as always. And today's Toastmaster, I guess we should do announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor?
I do have one.
Okay, great.
Would you please email me or instant message me if there are any specific dates upcoming that you would not be available or that you are requesting a specific role? Please do that by no later than Tuesday. Otherwise, I will assign you and you will be responsible for those dates or to find coverage. Thank you.
For the next quarter, Nancy?
Yes, the next quarter.
Thank you. Thank you for being proactive. Appreciate that. Okay, our presiding Toastmaster today is Sylvia Baptiste. Over to you, Sylvia.
Good morning. Yes, we do have a couple changes. I was reminded. It's glad we talked before the meeting. Speakers today will be Mike, being evaluated by Kate, and Steve is being replaced, his role not being replaced permanently, with Phil Russell. How's that? I don't think I have any other changes. And so I will start. Today is August 31st, National Eat Outside Day. As we know, we call it picnics. Believe it or not, it is a national holiday according to Google, and I thought it was a fun one to start, or I should say to end the month of August and the beginning of September, since Labor Day is around the corner. So pack up a lunch today, go outside under our sun. It is going to be a sunny day in Lockport. I looked up the weather. It's going to be sunny, high 70, a little chilly, but it's going to be a great day to be out there with nature and have something good to eat. Even if you can't eat something, cup of coffee, nice snack, something that everybody likes, and go out and celebrate, even if it's only for a half hour today. As I said, this is an unofficial holiday known. We don't know where this came up. Somebody thought, let's have a relaxation day. Let's call it Eat Outside Day. So how do we celebrate this? As I said earlier, pack up a lunch, enjoy with the family, friends, go to a park, start the grill in your yard tonight after you get out of work, or take a portable grill to the park if they allow it, and just sit and relax, because we don't have many sunny days in Western New York, so we need to enjoy what we get. In Western New York, where do we go for picnics? Well, I have a couple places, and these are close by, so we could go anytime during the week or weekend. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Please correct me if I'm not. Tift Nature Preserve out in Buffalo area, Erie County. Knox Farm State Park. And then the next three are in Niagara County, very close, Lewiston Landing, Niagara Falls State Park, Fort Niagara State Park Beach. The beach is really cool there. And then back to Buffalo is Delaware Park. And then if you want to take a little ride east, Rochester has many places to Finger Lakes. It goes on. The New York State is gorgeous, especially now that the next month the leaves will be changing. And it'd be a nice ride to go for a picnic. Here is where I had fun with this topic, because it brought back memories. What to bring. And, you know, many people, they're a food or beverage person. So which one are you? Do you want to bring the food, what you like? Do you want to bring the beverages that you like? Some likes to bring games. Some likes to bring music. Some might be just that person who wants to bring paper products and napkins and cups and silverware. And as I said, this brought back a lot of memories. When I was young, it seemed like every Sunday in the summer, my parents had a picnic planned with a different group. It would be my mother and father's card players on Sundays. They would play cards Sunday afternoons after the football game. And we would meet at Fort Niagara at the beach. And it was a great time. Or it would be family members, and that might have been at Hyde Park in Niagara Falls. Or it was another group that they hung out with that played cards. And that could have been at any state park, Beaver Island, anywhere. So it always seemed like Sunday we were running to a picnic. And we would tease my mother after the years gone by. She is the only person I know that would make baked macaroni to bring to a picnic. And she said, well, you know, we said, picnics are hot dogs, hamburgers, potato salad, macaroni salad, whatever. And she said, no. She goes, I make the baked macaroni because it fed a lot of people and everybody ate it. She never came home with leftovers, and she was right, and she never did. So the day would start off really early because you wanted to get the right picnic table spot, either under the trees or in a pavilion. So somebody in that group was there very early, and you would smell the eggs and the bacon cooking, even fresh coffee on the grill. And then you would have, like I said, my mother's macaroni in the middle of the afternoon, early afternoon. And then maybe about 6 o'clock. Oh, also had to have desserts and snacks in between. Chips, whatever you liked. And then also about end of the day, 6 o'clock, then the hot dogs and hamburgers went on the grill. And it was like all day eating fest. You know, the Italians, we eat a lot all day. It was like a holiday. And she did not move from that Sunday tradition of having sauce. So no matter what the weather was like. But we had fun. I remember, you know, seeing people you haven't seen all winter long, and they were there at Fort Niagara having their picnic. So my kind of picnic today, I like desserts, a lot of snacks, a deck of cards, music, and of course, the cold alcohol beverages. So that's my picnic style. So for roll holders today, I'm going to start with Jill, our general evaluator. Can you tell us about your role, Jill?
Wow, that's very good. Getting points, getting the GE out there front and center,
Right.
and not forgetting. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. My role is to evaluate Sylvia's general tenor and plan of the meeting, and also the evaluators, and I will report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Hey. Then we have Jackie, who's the word and grammarian. Jackie, could you tell us about your role, please?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As you can see in the chat, the word of the day is al fresco, which can be an adjective or an adverb. We will dine al fresco, or we had an al fresco dinner. I will also be paying attention to your grammar, your pronunciation, what words you use and how you use them, and I'll give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. David is our quote master, David Licata.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests. I have two quotes. The first quote is by myself and a billion other people of Italian extraction. Everything tastes better al fresco. The second quote is by that amazing author, Anonymous. If ants are such busy workers, how come they always find time to go on picnics? Madam Toastmaster.
Okay. We have Gerald Stevens this morning.
Good morning again, all Toastmasters. And thank you, Madam Toastmaster. A few jests for you today related to food, a little broader than just picnics. Why couldn't the sesame seed leave the gambling casino? Because he was on a roll. Nice. How fast is milk? It pasteurized before you know it. Want to hear a joke about pizza? Never mind, it's too cheesy.
Oh,
I know, that was painful. First one was the best one. And one last one. What did one blueberry say to the other blueberry? If you weren't so sweet, we wouldn't be in this jam. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Timer this morning is Marty Johnston. Marty.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The day is timer this morning. I will be timing all portions of the meeting, table topics, 1.5 to 2 minutes with a 15-second buffer. And I'll be turning the lights on at 1.5, 2 minutes, and 2:15. For the speaking portion, it looks like both of these, one speaker is 5 to 7, and David Jones is 4 to 6. I'll be turning the lights on at 4, 5, and 6. And for Thomas and we have Thomas and Mike. Thomas and Mike, 5 to 7 minutes. For our evaluators this morning, it'd be 2 to 3 minutes with the lights at 2, 2:30, and 3 with a 30-second buffer. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Marty. And the quiz master this morning is Carol Ann. Carol Ann, could you tell us about your job?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster. At the end of the meeting, I will be asking all our Toastmasters some questions to see how well they've been listening. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. As I wrote on the emails, or in the emails, I should say, that I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So let's see how it works out. We're going to start with our speakers this morning, something a little different. And before we begin, I did forget one important fact about picnics, and I forgot all about it. It did start with hunters. Because they were hunting, they took the break during the day to have a meal outside, and that began the picnic theme. That's what they say. It's something I never knew. So it was interesting. This morning's first evaluator, Kate, will be evaluating Michael Licata. Kate, are you ready?
I am. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. This is a fun day. Eating al fresco or playing al fresco or music or anything like that. Outdoors. We're all outdoors. The speech today from Mike, and I have to say, I appreciate that he was alternate speaker. He stepped up to take my place as speaker. I didn't even ask him. He knows I'm busy. So I'm his evaluator, and he's awesome. And his path is engaging humor, level 3 elective. Today's project is creating effective visual aids. Mr. Timer, 5 to 7 minutes. And thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
Hey, Mike's title of his speech this morning, and this has me intrigued. New edition. Mike Licata. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. And I didn't check if there's any guests. So, when you have a little bit too much money, we all have addictive personalities, and you're looking for new hobbies, you try to do it without spending the extra money on the vice tax. Now, that's a roll I could go down, but I'm not going to. So, what is my new hobby that I picked up at some point this summer? The biggest thing that I've actually started doing is I've actually started buying trading cards. So this is the first set that comes out. I think this came out in March. It's Top Series 1 for Major League Baseball. And it is one of those things that I decided to start doing. This is a simple blaster pack. It's a good way to start in on the trading to reignite my passion and my love for trading cards and things like that. So this is a Series 1. And with Top Series 1, it's always interesting because there's always a card that can bring you back. So when I ripped open the pack from the Top Series 1, this is the card that brought me back. This is an Adley Rushman base rookie card. Now, when it comes to the value in that card, this one you can actually turn around and sell more quickly than the other stuff because he was a #1 draft pick, because because he's so prominent already as a member of the Baltimore Orioles, you can definitely get your money back for it. So a couple of months later, so this is the card that keeps bringing me back. And after that, a couple of weeks later, in June actually, I picked up a Top Series 2 blaster pack. In the Top Series 2 blaster pack, there's a couple different other cards. There's a couple different ones, but the ones that bring value actually this is a gold variant refractor thing, and this is Nick Prado. And the interesting thing about this is that if you can see up, you can't really see because it's blue. I'm sorry about that, but I can show you later. This is actually a numbered card. So this one is actually numbered to 2023. So this is one of 2023. Now you think that's not a lot, but it is interesting because the value comes in its rarity. So as long as you keep participating and you keep the cards for a while, most of them do appreciate in value. So after that, I actually did pick this up yesterday morning before work, and this is actually the Topps. You can upgrade to. This is the Topps Chrome pack. That one was called a hobby box. It's actually a lot more expensive than the other two. I can have you guys look it up later. But the draw with that is actually a couple of things. They have more rare refractors. So this is actually a pink, what they call a refractor of Alec Thomas from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And actually, you can see the number on this one a little bit better too. You can see that it is one of 399 cards. And then this is Washington Nationals pitcher Mackenzie Gore. Again, the rarity in it. The value in these cards comes from the rarity. So it has all that information on it and things like, so it has, this is one of 99. And then the draw with the Topps Chrome Hobby pack, the Topps Chrome pack, is that you're guaranteed an autograph. And this is the one I pulled yesterday. I did some research on this player and realized that this is a great autograph, Willie Benson. It's nice and clean. They already authenticated, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you actually notice over here, this is actually 2 of 25. And the other interesting thing with that is the fact that he actually got traded already and he's actually playing for the Cincinnati Reds. So there's actually might be some value in that. Topps does a great job with their cards as well. There's some other, these aren't as valuable, but they just look really nice. They look really clean too. And they did some old style cards when it comes to developing and getting cards ready and things like that. Getting the cards ready. And this becomes an addiction because you just never know what you're going to pull when you crack open those cards and you're able to bring in and provide the excitement that one has when it comes to developing certain cards and values. Now with baseball cards, a lot of the value comes from pulling rookie cards. So this is actually I can use this kind of shows you the one on the top is actually Corbin Carroll. He's having a really good year. But this is actually the stack of rookie cards that I was able to pull out of the Chrome Hobby box yesterday. So it's actually really, really cool to see the base and see how nice they look. And they've even done a couple of cards where they've done like retro style Chrome because it's the Topps 35th anniversary. So that kind of refractor looks really, really cool. They're kind of vintage, the vintage style. Those don't have as much. Those don't have as much value on right away as some of the autographs and the different refractors and things like that. So I've kind of finished my baseball collection season, my baseball card collection for this summer. And I'm probably going to I'm going to go probably find some Panini sets for the upcoming NFL season. Hopefully you can get some different cards, some different football cards of different players. But the value in a lot of the base sets with the trading cards is in the rookies and is in rookie cards. And Topps actually did a tremendous job, along with the Players Association, to make sure they designate which one is a rookie card. There's actually a really nice picture because it's actually right on there. It's very, very nice. I'm not sure you'd see it with the camera. I didn't really do a camera test this morning. But it says rookie card right on it. So there's really no confusion when it comes to the secondary market, when it comes to the resale market and things like that. So this is a new hobby I've tried to develop. I decided to do it. You spend all summer at the baseball diamond. So I've decided in May and June to do a nice job of being able to showcase baseball cards, and hopefully I've talked to my friend about it when he talks about going to the casino, that every time you pull that slot machine it feels like you have the potential to win a lot of money. And I feel very similar when it comes to buying a hobby box and buying a updated pack of cards. To You get that feeling and you get that rush of the potential of the card, what everything looks like. Everything looks cool in the future. And it is an investment too, because the next step, and I have to do this because I had to go back through a couple of cards I got, is to get everything graded And that's another step that costs more money. And I have to go through my old cards again just to see which ones that I should send off to get graded. Because that, at a minimum, I checked in a couple of places, is like $40 to $50 to get it graded. You get it graded, they send it back to you, and the grade gives you the potential and the value on the card. Because if you grade it higher, is it 8, 9, 9.5, or even a 10, which is mint, you can actually, it increases the resale value on a couple of cards that I looked at that I have in my collection. Is actually, it's in the difference between few $100s for some of the older cards, especially, and some of the other rare cards that I have in my collection. I need to go back and figure out which ones I need to send off, and that's the next start, and that's the next step in the process of grading trading cards. So it's a new hobby I've started. It's kind of a new addiction. It's cheaper than most addictions. I did spend a lot of money on especially the Chrome pack, but it is definitely worth it to kind of see where these players are in the future and which ones bring value going forward. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Hey,
Sylvia, if I can jump in for a minute. Marty,
Sure.
if
I was-
you're timing, your video is off and no one else was timing. So for the benefit of the speakers, please. Thank you.
I was going to say that. Thank you.
Sorry about that, Michael.
Our next evaluator, which is Mark, is going to evaluate our second speaker, David Jones. And Mark, do you have his evaluation ready?
I do. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Good morning. David Jones is working out of the Dynamic Leadership Pathway Level 1. It will be an icebreaker this morning. The purpose of his project is for the member to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. His time today is 4 to 6 minutes, and since we know this is not David's first icebreaker, we will hold him to that time. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. David Jones, From Fear to Love of Toastmasters. Dr. Laxer, am I pronouncing it correctly? Thank you. David Jones.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Like most of you, when I started here at Toastmasters, it was to overcome my fear of public speaking. But within a very short period of time, I was asked or voluntold to be the club treasurer. And today, you know that I'm club growth director in a different district. And I figured while I'm here in this position, I might as well keep going. David Jones, International President 3031. And yes, I do have a strategy and a path towards that. But now that I'm here, this is beyond anything I could have ever conceived. I didn't realize what Toastmaster opportunities were. The leadership opportunities, the speaking opportunities, the coaching and helping others opportunities. And it's the helping other opportunities that really sparked my interest. Being able to coach somebody that walked in the door the first time scared to death, and then see them gradually become great speakers and leaders, kind of gives me a good warm and fuzzy feeling inside. And that's my passion. It's just watching others. It's more about them than it is about me at this point in time. And that brings me to Dr. Eric Laxer. He is an orthopedic surgeon. We're the same age. He's been a doctor for 25 years, and he decided he was going to retire at this age of 57. And about a year and a half ago, he had this plan to retire, and he knew that when he retired, he was going to need to have public speaking skills. He was either going to lecture or maybe teach or maybe even help interns or residents at hospitals, but he'd have to be able to speak in front of them, and that's why he decided to come to Toastmasters. And he tells the story how when he came to our club for the first time, he sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes. He didn't have the car in park yet. He knew he could leave. He was scared to death. But eventually he walked in the door and we're better for it. And when he came in, I was one of the first people he met. And I ended up becoming his speaking coach. And week after week, after every meeting, we'd talk and challenge him. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, he has that doctor mentality as a surgeon. He has to research everything and study everything. And I would say to him, hey, next week, why don't you be timer? And he'd say, yes, I want to be timer. I'm going to go home and read about it and research it and watch videos. I'd be like, it's just green, yellow, red. But that's not his thought pattern. He has to really know what he's doing. He's even going to scrub his hands before he starts becoming timer. And week after week, he would do different roles. And eventually he became an evaluator. And again, he studied it and he was a fantastic evaluator. So much so that we asked him to do the international speech contest. And he made it to the division level, became in second place. He then became our vice president of education. Again, very thorough, would be able to communicate well with the members and tell them how to join pathways. And then I nominated him to become the chief judge of the district because of his competition experience and just being able to be that thorough about his job. And he did a great job. And today, he's our club president. Now, I think the dreams that he had about being a lecturer or teacher or a mentor all went out the door because he's fallen in love with Toastmasters. And I have a theory about it because as a doctor, as a surgeon, people might get injured. They might come walking in because they feel something different and they're scared to death and they want to get help from the doctor. And he tells them there are different options, maybe take a pill or maybe take a knife or something in between. But he has to help them along their journey. He's there for the surgery, telling them it's going to be okay. After the surgery, he checks on them and he follows up months later to make sure they're doing their therapy. And isn't that the same thing that we do here at Toastmasters? We help people that walk in the door scared to death. In fact, most people would rather go have surgery than give a presentation at work. And I think that's why he's fallen in love with it. I talked to him about it the other day and he kind of agreed that that is the theory that he kind of has, is just helping other people is such a great opportunity. And Toastmasters allows us to help others. Now, my challenge to you, AM Lockport, President Distinguished Club, is to go out and find some new members, to go out and find some guests that can come in, that you can help build up, that you can mentor and coach and watch them grow into people they never thought they would be, because that will give you a warm and fuzzy feeling inside. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. Yes, we do need new members. We need to expand a little, even though we get a good showing every morning, but we do need to expand. Our third evaluator this morning, Phil Russell, will be evaluating Thomas. Phil, could you tell us about Tom's speech this morning?
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, especially Tom. I'm going to read from my computer what the purpose of this is. The purpose statement is this. Purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. The second one, the purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. That's the purpose. You have the time and the title of the speech, Madam Toastmaster. So, Madam Toastmaster.
Yes. Thomas' title of his speech this morning is Success of Mentors. And Thomas, please start your speech.
Good morning, my fellow Toastmasters. I hope that Toastmasters is everything that you want it to be and has given you the things that you wanted out of it. Whether it is just learning to publicly speak, learning leadership skills, creating podcasts, whatever that is, I hope that they are being fulfilled, your goals. The quote that I'd like to use is by a man named Bo Sanchez. Getting a mentor is a shortcut to success. You'll hear a lot of people talk about how they thank their mentors, and Toastmasters does a really good job of setting up a mentoring program. The mentoring program is on the website, on our website, AM Lockport. You can request a mentor. My mentor is Marty. Marty has been in Toastmasters with me in AM Lockport for quite a long time. I approached him as being a mentor, I believe about 2018, 2019, roughly. And since then, he has fulfilled that role, helping me. Well, what's that role? A mentor is not a coach. They're not a role model. They're not a support staff. They're not, what are they supposed to do? Well, let me first explain what they're not. A mentor is not a coach. A coach in Toastmasters would be the closest thing to an evaluator. They look at your performance. They give you pointers. We use the sandwich approach of positive, negative, positive. One of the things that I think is most important with that is that we remember that that's coaching and not mentoring. Your mentoring is a long-term process. It's not just a short little tidbit or working on a specific skill or deciding that I need to practice a little more and having someone to practice with. Mentoring is fulfilling goals, long-term goals. One of the things that he helped me with first, Marty did, was my goal of leadership and doing something for Toastmasters. With that, he was able to give me some advice on be yourself when in a leadership role. That simple, just be yourself. He didn't give me specifics, he guided me. He helped me realize when things were going badly and I would say I have an issue. He goes, delegate or ask for advice. You don't have to, as in a leadership position, come up with all the right answers. Someone else may have them for you. So I want to real quick just give a toast to Marty for being my mentor now for about 4 years and basically helping me with several other goals, which I will discuss. Thank you, Marty. Circling back to my original quote, mentors are a shortcut to success. Why? Well, you should choose your mentor as someone who's already succeeded because they've already failed 99 ways possibly, but they know what works. And you want to do what works. When you don't know exactly how to even start, they'll give you a push in the right direction. They don't motivate you. They're not your motivator. They're not your rah, rah, rah cheerleader. They give you a shortcut. They say, try this or this. A, maybe B, maybe plan C. Think about these and see how you can do it. The things they're not telling you about is plans D through Z that they know probably won't work. Some mentors that might help guide your thinking as to what to do when you're a mentor. The first one would be, for me, that comes to mind, was Jean-Luc Picard of Star Trek: The Next Generation. They have a core set of characters. He's the captain. he does his coaching stuff and gets people going and doing average managerial and leadership things, but he's constantly having his people grow. He would do things like inspire them to seek out their own skills. He would show them their weaknesses and show them how he would approach it. Not with a specific how-to plan, but with a statement like, you need to learn how to do this. And until you do this, you'll continue to fail. And he would guide them toward usually some sort of epiphany by the end of every episode. One thing I have to warn against is that a role model in the Toastmasters program is exactly that. And they're there to help you when you approach them. It's not their job, any mentor, Toastmaster or otherwise, to track your progress and deal with, the fact that you're not coming to them and you're not going toward the goal. That's on you. They're there to give unconditional support and drop whatever they're doing, maybe everything they're doing, to then guide you and listen to you and help you. They're not there to be your, like I said, a cheerleader or a motivator. So I suggest that if you're going to sign up for the mentoring program, realizing the commitment is two ways, but theirs is reactionary or basically contingent on your willingness to give them questions and ask for guidance. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about lastly is don't give up. And with that, I think you need to find a mentor if you don't have one. Don't give up. And remember, the learning process is on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Can I have a timers report, Marty? How did everyone do in time?
Madam Toastmaster, Mike Licata. I apologize, Mike, about not having the lights on for you. I have you down as 9:07. David Jones was 5:11, and Thomas was 8:07. And according to my calculations, David Jones qualified.
Okay, we're going to let Mike's speech qualify also. So we're going to have a vote between Mike and David. Thomas, you didn't, what was Tom's?
8. Mine was over 8 minutes.
Okay.
So that's all right. I ended up realizing it when I flipped from single view to multi-view that Marty was holding up the red, and I'm like, oh, okay, I talked too much.
You had too much caffeine. So please cast your votes for Michael or David, please. And now we'll go into the evaluators. Like I said, we're going backwards a little. Evaluator number 1, Kate, are you ready to evaluate Mike's speech?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Can you hear me?
Yes, we could.
Great. Oh, Mike, you sounded and looked good. I'm glad you came on today, not just because you took my spot, but I appreciated hearing more about you. It's hard for a lot of people just to sound and look good, and you did. Your diction was strong. You had some really nice techniques, like you used your headphones and you looked professional. Your sound was coming and going for me, but I'm having tech issues, so that might be me. And sometimes when your voice goes lower, I couldn't hear you. Again, that just could be me, but it was it gets rumbly when you get really low, it gets softer. So my biggest suggestion is I want you to tell tell us more how you feel. That is hard, but you tapped into it a bit, that it's kind of a gamble, that there's a surprise, that it's fun, like those kinds of elements you brought in. But it was more technical. It was like we developed excitement and the value of it. And so like your fun came off more like that. So I think there's room for more there. Thank you, Mike. It was awesome. I loved hearing more about you. You lost me at some point since it's a topic with which I'm less familiar, but I feel like that's the point. You gave us something to do with visual aids. Your project was visual aids. So great job. Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kate. Our second evaluator this morning, Mark, is evaluating David's speech. Mark.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially David. Dr. Laxer, what an intriguing title. When I saw it on the agenda, I had no idea where you were going with this one. But I really loved your messaging overall as you talked about your own progression as a Toastmaster with your increasing involvement, and then the satisfaction that you gained by helping others grow and progress in assisting Dr. Laxer. But let's talk about your strengths as a speaker today. You had it all going on from my perspective. I loved your expressions throughout the speech. It's something I would love to be able to emulate, and it's a challenge for me. Having that little bit of a smile that's almost always there is very warm and reassuring to the audience, and it helps you connect. So you're very strong in that regard. Very big gestures throughout the speech, very comfortable. It was impressive. You definitely had a very strong speaking presence today, and your eye contact was really good with the camera overall, I thought. I think the most impressive thing to me, though, is knowing, based on a Facebook post you had yesterday, that you were traveling and you were impacted by the hurricane. It sure looked like you were in a hotel room today. So I give you a lot of credit for that, because being outside one's element and still being comfortable enough to deliver the speech, I thought you were really good in that regard. And I have to admit, as an evaluator, I was feeling a lot of panic watching your speech, because I was deathly afraid I might be facing a whitewash here. However, I dug deep, and however nitpicky they are, I found ways that I think your speech could be just maybe a little bit more effective. First and foremost, from a content standpoint, I loved your progression story. Maybe it could have been shrunk and summarized a little bit faster so that you had more time to elaborate about that growth of Dr. Laxer and the satisfaction you gained from it. Maybe a few more stories about him. I know, little nitpicky. In terms of eye contact with the camera, as good as it was, I think we all run the risk of starting to do these as we are speaking. Maybe just try to keep that laser sharp focus on the camera. And obviously, I think it could have been even more effective in a different setting where you had the perfect camera orientation. But that's, as I said before, it's something you couldn't help. But overall, I love the speech. I really loved the close, the call to action. I thought that was very strong. It's no secret, I think, in this club that I love to evaluate. It's my favorite job by far. And when I know I'm evaluating, I'm always excited to look at the agenda to see who am I evaluating today. And there's nothing like evaluating somebody new and different, because it's an opportunity to help them grow and to help them progress. So let's all heed David's call to action, and let's see what we can do to add more members. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. Our third evaluator, Bill Russell, he was voluntold. Bill will be evaluating our third speaker, Thomas.
Mr. Timer, before you start, I have something to say that's very important. Al fresco, Jackie, was that what? Oh, now I remember. He was at the old lifeguard parties down in Crawl Park, outside. Now I remember. Al Fresco. I thought it was a friend you introduced me to, but I'm glad I figured it out. He was at one of the lifeguard parties at Carl Park. Thank you very much. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Thomas. Thomas, I did a lot of writing on some ideas. 90% was good. Let me point that out. I have a couple of things where I think you might be able to improve on. And I liked the visual to start off with for you. I did. The only thing I was going to comment, the camera might be up a little bit higher. The reason being is we were looking in one direction, and then when you lean forward, we had a perfect angle. So hence, I think in the future, we might check that out, put it a little bit higher, a couple inches. I don't know how your setup is, but that would be important to me if I was doing that. I'm going to point out the gestures. You didn't have a lot of hand gestures, but they were great. Might have a little bit more. But what was the gestures that focused on for me? Your face, your eyes. They were excellent. You captivated me. It was a great job with that. One thing I also liked, the research. You did some good research. You know what you're talking about. I like that. Now, the one thing again on this comment where I would try to help you out, and this goes for all of us. As soon as you have your speech, you have your path, you have everything, put it into the computer. Do it right away. It helps out the evaluator. I went and saw it. I brought it up before I had plenty of time, but some people can't do it as well. They're just learning how to do it. So as an evaluator, that would help me out tremendously. And I liked it. So overall, good speech. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Phil. Marty, I'm going to call on you for the timers report again.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. I'm pleased to report all 3 evaluators qualified. Kate at 137, Mark at 323, and Phil Russell at 211. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Great. You're not done yet, Marty. One more time. So please cast your vote for Kate, Mark, or Phil this morning, or as our evaluators. So now I'm going, it's going to seem like such a long meeting because I'm going to Eric, our table topics master this morning, and he will tell us his role and do some spontaneous speeches. Eric.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Toastmaster, good morning, everybody. I will be your table topics master. I'll be picking 3 lucky people of our Zoom studio audience. And as I call your name, please remember to use the word al fresco. That's a nice word, Jackie. Thank you for providing that word today. So they're going to be members who are going to do a dual role, and I know that a couple people don't have a job today, but I'm going to call on Nancy Ferry. Nancy, do you enjoy eating it in the outdoors? Do you like to go on a picnic? Nancy.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I love doing my meals al fresco. I could enjoy spring and summer and fall. I have done outdoor al fresco meals in the winter in the snow, not very often. My favorite place was when I was a kid. It was called Lake Quanapug, and it was nestled in the pines. The water was amber colored, and we would meet with my cousins. We only had one set of cousins, very small family, but they were kind of troubled. And if they came to our house, it was awful. what we chose to do was go to Lake Quanapog and have a great picnic, al fresco style. And we got to hang out and do what we wanted to do. And they didn't break any of our toys. They didn't ruin our house. It was wonderful. But what I like to bring, that was part of the first part of our meetings, what people like to bring. I like to bring games. I like to bring my own food, and I like to bring my own drinks, because nobody ever thinks of seltzer water or sparkling water. And that is my favorite thing. And I like to go camping as well, which includes al fresco meals. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nancy. I would like to call up on Len Thornton. Len, now I see you are, like Dr. Stevens, an avid traveler. So Len, in your travels, did you eat outside too? And what is your favorite food that in your recent travels? Len.
Thank you, Mr. Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters. I do like to travel. And my next trip will be to the Emerald Isle, finally making it over to Ireland. Thank you to everybody who's given me pointers on what to see. And Jackie, I do have your book for you and your notes from your prior travels there. Very helpful. Eating outside, I guess I've not really experienced that a whole lot. Of course, I've been to Paris a half dozen times. I spent a semester in France in '92 and went back in '94. And there's the endless cafes, outdoor cafes. That's al fresco dining, in my opinion. As for picnicking, when you travel in foreign countries and you're on a time crunch, you want to fit in as many things as possible, you tend to snack. You bring snacks along with you, and you kind of eat while you're traveling in the car. Maybe that's an American thing. I know they're a little bit more formal about meals in Europe, and the concept of drive-through food is just important to a lot of cultures, and I can appreciate that. It's an American thing we've grown up with. So al fresco dining, maybe as Sylvia said, is more akin to picnicking or grilling out on your barbecue or your charbroil grill or your green bullet in the backyard and enjoying your own property, mosquitoes and all, flies in your food. That's al fresco dining, American style. Mr. Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Len. We look forward to hearing your wonderful stories and hope you have a good trip. All right. I would like to take one more. Morning. Margot, would you like to do a table topics?
Sure.
Margot, now you love to go out and dine, right?
Mm-hmm.
What type of foods do you love to dine, and do you like to eat more outside or rather inside? And so, Margot.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. Actually, this topic has given me a lot of food for thought all morning. You see, as Sylvia said, today is International Picnic Day or Dining Al Fresco Day. But did you know every day has some weird and funky holiday to it? If you get my e-newsletter from the winery, you'll know that I celebrate all kinds of funky days. So for example, tomorrow, September 1st, is International Toy Testing Day. So if you have a toy you've never used in your home, tomorrow's the day to test it. It's also International Random Acts of Kindness Day. And I find all these funky holidays that I can somehow tie into my business. So for example, the 10th of September is Swap Ideas Day. So that's a day when people give me ideas from their business and I give them ideas from mine, maybe not the same kind of business, and we get to use them and try and see if we can tie them in someday. Did you know there's an International School Picture Day. It's September 14th. Bring me a copy of your earliest school picture and I'll give you a free tasting. So I put together all these funky, weird holidays and get people coming in and saying, how do you find them? The best way is to go to brownielocks.com and you can find out all the weird and funky holidays that take place on any day. And I really love to do it for my birthday, which is coming up soon. And in case you didn't know it, my birthday is International Drive Your Studebaker Day. And for someone who really doesn't like to drive, that's kind of funky. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Margot. Now, could I have a word master report, Jackie?
Yes, you may. All our participants use the word. Margot once, Len 3 times, and Nancy 4 times. So she wins. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. And our timer, Marty, how did our table topics participants do today on time? Marty.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. All three of our participants qualified. Nancy Ferry at 1:30, Len at 1:54, and Margot at 1:50.
Thank you very much, Mr. Timer. And please cast your vote for Nancy, Len, or Margot. And I'll turn things back over to Sylvia to call on for our general evaluator and to close up the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for going last this time instead of first. Thought it just change up a little bit. Maybe today should have been International Change Up Day. I don't know. Maybe I'll make it a new one. So before I ask Jill to come in, I just wanted to tell everyone again, remind them today, go out, enjoy the fresh air, the sunshine in Western New York. I'm sorry, David, you're in Florida, and I know that's sunny there now after the storms. And you're in Orlando, you're in a good spot. And enjoy the fresh air, the nature, the ants, the bees. And I'm allergic to bees, just to let everybody know. So bring your bug spray. And the flies, and just enjoy the nature for today. And have a good cup of coffee out there, a cup of tea, whatever else you like to drink that you can bring to a park. Jill, would you like to call reports too?
If you would like me to.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. Well, first off, on my evaluation as general evaluator. Sylvia, you had excellent pre-meeting communications. They started out last week already. You got pretty good response from most people who do respond regularly. The fact that you called on me first at the beginning of the meeting, that was definitely gave you points. Kept you from forgetting the general evaluator, which is something we all tend to do. You had so many wonderful stories relating to your theme of picnics and dining outside, dining al fresco, which was a good word to go along with the theme of the day. It was interesting to hear about your Italian picnics and having them out there in the state park. Coming from the rural area, we just had our picnics out in the backyard by the swimming pool. So we never really went anywhere. My mother never really liked going places. In fact, when my mother was head of a Girl Scout troop, she never even did the camping trips. She'd go during the day and go home at night, which I always thought was kind of strange. As to our evaluators, all three of them did a wonderful, strong evaluations. They all use the typical sandwich approach, which is something we're trained to do and which is good for any type of evaluation project to do in your life. Let's see. Mark's was very strong as always. Phil brought attention to the excellent special variations in the speech that he was evaluating in Thomas's speech. Kate pulled out certain things that could make a better speech later on. And I really don't have much else to say about the evaluations. So I guess we will go to our few reports for the day. Jackie, would you like to give a WAG report, please?
Thank you. I certainly would, Miss General Evaluator. I heard the word of the day from a number of people. Kate used it several times. Eric used it. You used it, Jill. David Licata used it. Phil beat it to death with his little joke that he made up on the spot. But he also correctly used the word protege in his evaluation. I enjoyed that. Mike Licata had a few start overs, and then he used kind of cool, really cool, and really, really cool. So you might want to consult your dictionary for a few more choices, Mike. David Jones, always excellent diction, but you did say kinda, and I think all of us need to get rid of that. Thomas had some long pauses. Maybe you wouldn't have gone over time if you'd been able to cut those out. I heard you use the word epiphany. Very nicely done. And that is my report. Oh, wait, one more thing. Sylvia, when you are introducing someone, do not say which is, say who. This is a person you're introducing. Thank you. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jackie. Nice, short, sweet, but wonderful report. Carol, are you ready to stump us?
Yes, I am. First of all, what historical site is at the place where Sylvia had many family picnics?
Oh, Fort Niagara.
Right.
It's always something.
What brand of the baseball cards did Mike have?
Tops.
Right. And what is the most expensive pack?
Chrome.
Chrome, right? And the value of them is determined by what?
Condition.
And rarity.
Rarity, right. And what did Dave Jones say that many people would rather do than giving a speech?
I have surgery.
And what was Thomas's definition of mentors?
Not a role model.
Not a coach.
Shortcut to success.
Correct. And where is Len's next vacation going to be?
Ireland.
Emerald Isle.
And does anyone remember what Margot said September 1st is for a holiday?
Oh, drive your
Build your own toy.
No, it wasn't drive your Studebaker.
Testing toys.
Yeah, it was the toy testing and random acts of kindness. Madam Toastmaster.
Actually, I think we're still with me, although I am perfectly comfortable with giving it back to Sylvia or our officer of the day.
Well, it would be Officer of the Day. I just have one question. Are we able to meet in person next week?
Yes.
Okay. Just a reminder for the people who would like to be in person, they would like to be in person. How does that sound?
Yeah,
Like to be there anyway.
the correct answer is maybe.
I'm sorry, what's that, Len?
The correct answer is maybe.
Oh, maybe. You'll let us know?
Well, Larry has generously been donating a PA system and a microphone to Toastmasters for the past few years. He needed to retrieve the microphone about a month ago for a job he had over the summer. I haven't been able to get a hold of Larry, so I don't know if he's returned that, if the microphone's available for us again. It would behoove the club to start purchasing all the borrowed equipment that they have to support hybrid meetings. The microphone, which is used on our lectern, and a cable would run about $240. I sent through the chat a screenshot of what it is. Perhaps this would be a good time to approve a purchase or to propose a purchase for said equipment so that we're ensured of being able to do a hybrid meeting next Thursday.
I make a motion that we let Lucky Research go out and purchase one for that amount of price. What would 250 be able to do it, Lenny?
Well, it's exactly as shown in the graphic I just sent. I think $240.
I can't see that. 220.
240, 68.
Yeah, and I whatever is reasonable that you think is reasonable, I leave it open for an amount rather than putting an amount on it.
I agree. It would be awful horrible to not be hybrid in person next week because of a microphone.
I'd like to second that motion.
Now we're gonna have discussion.
Okay.
This is
Treasurer,
Kate.
do we
I
have money in the
definitely,
treasury?
sorry. There was an officer meeting last night, and this was discussed at the officer meeting for anybody. Maybe you mentioned this at the beginning. I was out for the first few minutes, so I did not hear, but I know some people arrived even after me. So we do have it in our funds. The treasury report, it's substantial enough. We are meeting at the YMCA next week. This decision is not contingent, that is not contingent on this decision by any means. Steve at the YMCA did approve us to come back. He confirmed in an email to the officers. So we are definitely meeting, but the hybrid factor and the looping in all of our folks who are on Zoom won't happen much, if at all, without the microphone, if that helps the decision also, just so for clarification. I think it's a great idea.
David?
You're muted.
You're muted, Dave.
You're muted, Dave.
Can you hear me now? All right. The lectern is in the closet at the Y waiting for us. And it's got a big surprise on it. I'm so proud.
Margo, were you going to say something?
Move the question.
We're currently in discussion, I guess, of the motion.
But with the silence, why don't we move forward and vote?
All right.
Heading officer has to call a question.
Call the question.
I'll go ahead, Gerald. Go ahead.
Call the question. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Okay, I'll request said funds from our treasurer, Beth, and we'll get that on order, and it should arrive prior to next Thursday, and we'll be all set in that regard. Thank you.
Okay, so we will be meeting at the YMCA, and hopefully the Mike will be in time to do the online. Other than that, I'm going to turn it over to Kate to close us out for the morning.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Oh, I was trying to type the balance in the chat at the same time. I will tell you all, I am not that I was ever that great at multitasking, or not that any of us are great at multitasking, but lately that is definitely not something that I have a strength at right now. I have the Treasury report from Beth last night at the officer meeting. Balance as of July 31st, $2,583.42. Anne Marie paid the new TI rate. We're working on splitting that up. Balance as of, we didn't do much. We paid to Toastmasters 1020. Deposits were $990. So our balance on August 30th was $2,553.42. So just a $30 difference. I see Eric is suggesting we do a toast. Now, I will say David Jones did a toast. We are Toastmasters. Let's toast more frequently, everybody. Yeah, we have toast outside, al fresco, with your friends or family, or by yourself. To an al fresco day, to a definitely an al fresco day. And then I feel like we had more things to report on here. Oh, next week we have time. It's 8:16. Our Toastmaster is Phil Russell. Phil is ready. I know he will be. Our speakers are Jackie and Carol. There is an opening, but Mike Florio is on for alternate. And in fact, with the timing and getting back to a new place, that's always a challenge. The tables, the chairs, all the setup, we're debating the snacks, blah, blah, blah. If officers have anything to share from last night's meeting beyond the microphone, etc., get your schedules for October, November, December to Nancy, because she's going to work on the Q4 schedule in September, which is tomorrow. September starts, and we heard about fun days that tomorrow are. Random Acts of Kindness Day. I'm totally doing that. I didn't know that was September 1st. Thank you, Margot, for sharing that. Okay.
Excusez-moi.
Ed, Phil, it is your table. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Presiding Officer. The theme for next week, and Jackie will correct my pronunciation or my grammar. Who's your team? Or what's your team? That's the theme for next week. Who's your team? Thank you, Kate.
I love it. I love it. Who's your team? There's a lot of ways we can interpret that. So I love that. Also, September 11th, Bill's opening night. Be ready for that. Okay. In addition to speakers next week, just so we're more prepared, our evaluators are Tracy, Marty, and Les. Our timer is Len. Our GE is Sylvia. Dave Licata, you are the WAG Master. In many clubs, it's called WAG Master. That's what Jackie did today. And Eric took on double roles, Inspiration and Jester. We are looking for a Quiz Master if anybody already would like to sign up as Quiz Master next week. And again, I'm only going on with this because it's exciting. We're back in hybrid. Hopefully that day, we're for sure in person. It's 8:18 now. We still have time to go over this. So Nancy, I hope I didn't step on your toes by jumping in on all those educational things. And we had a big boost about mentoring from Thomas today. And that's a great educational piece. So as a prior VPE, I want to commend you, Thomas, for bringing in that, and Marty for being his mentor for so long. And many of you have been great mentors for me. And thank you for the ongoing mentoring, because I certainly need it, especially lately. All right. Any more announcements from the floor or anything I forgot? Refreshments, tables, chairs, etc. Tomorrow, come early if you can help. But again, we were confirmed with Steve via email, the executive director of the Y. So we're good. 6:30 a.m. and on. We'll start at 7. Jill, go right ahead. I think Jill.
Okay. It is our third and final yard sale weekend. We will be al fresco all weekend, and hopefully I am not struggling through this by myself. with Steve. Hopefully he goes and gets himself adjusted again today and it straightens him out. But otherwise, we will be here all day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. If you want to come down and spend some time with us, want to walk through my beautiful gardens, you are more than welcome to. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jill. Come on out, join Alfresco. I love visiting Steve and Jill's garage sales. Maybe we'll have, some cider. I think the weather's supposed to be nice. So
Well,
cold.
we do have that bar in the garage.
That even steps up the game beyond.
Yeah.
So I think the weather will be nice no matter if it's a cold cider or a hot cider. It's fall is on its way these evenings. David or anybody else who's out of town, you're missing some really nice hot days and cool nights right now. It feels fall at night, and I think it's a full moon, or it was last night, tonight. Oh my goodness, it's a super moon, so it's the closest all year with the moon to the earth. So we can certainly feel maybe the tide pulls. If your emotions have been up and down or your sleeping is not great, sometimes that's from the power of the moon. It's a real thing, guys. It's real. It's a scientific thing. Tides, it controls all the water in the world, and our bodies are 97% water. Hello. It definitely affects us in different ways, admittedly. But it's a blue moon. There's a lot of, it's 2 full moons in 1 month. So that's rare, but it's August 31st. So that's kind of when it happens. Anyway, I would love to give props again to our tech guys, because you are an amazing team and keeping us all together every week. And they sent me here somewhere our winners for today. There we go. Any more announcements? Have I forgotten any more announcements?
I don't know how chat works.
And David,
Yeah.
you're muted, not muted again. Don't swear. Just don't swear. David, don't swear. Not that ever happens. I shouldn't preclude that message, but okay. Anybody else? I thought it was
Dave
a
has an
message.
announcement. Dave has an announcement. He kept having his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry. I don't have all screen view. So, David, is that you have something to share, sir?
He has to unmute himself again.
I didn't mute you. You or someone else did. Where are you? Where are
There.
you? I gotta find you.
Hear
There
me?
you are. There you are. Yes. Go ahead.
All right. Let's make an extra effort for next Thursday to show up in our nice blue Toastmaster sweaters and/or shirts to make a little splash as we parade ourselves in and out of that building. Let's get their attention. There's some people that are eligible. There's some people that are already Toastmasters. They just don't know it, and they should be aware of what we're doing there. Because I think the easiest way to get new guests is find that person who's a Toastmaster but doesn't know that they're a Toastmaster. And there's plenty of those walking around the Y. Thank you.
Absolutely. What an excellent call to action. Invite our guests, especially starting in 2 weeks, because let's get the kinks worked out next week and making sure all the things are in order. The table, the chairs, the lectern, the snacks, the coffee. It takes a team. So if you can come out again, 6:30 a.m. or on, we'll try to start promptly at 7. We'll see how things go. Thomas has an announcement. Thomas too? Or am I mistaken?
I'm sorry. I
There
was
you
just
go.
going to mention that my next speech in the humor is a question and answer, and it says 15 to 20 minutes. So I would need 2 speaker spots for the next time I speak. This is the next thing I wanted to do. I just wanted to just make sure that if we have a cancellation sometime in October or November, that just keep that in your mind of like, oh, we lost a speaker. Oh, we can, maybe, or we lose 2 speakers, we can put that in.
Yeah, Thomas, I'll make this quick. You're not on the schedule then for September is what you're saying. So you'd like to be on the schedule we haven't built it yet. So
October,
Nancy,
later. No, it can be
perfect. We
later.
haven't
I
built
just
it yet. So Nancy, we can even schedule it that way. Let me find Nancy again. Are you hearing this, Nancy? So in quarter 4, at some point in October, we're going to schedule Thomas to cover 2. And we're only still at 8:24, so we're a good time. Thomas, perfect. Get in touch with Nancy. Plan ahead for that for the next quarter. And thank you, Jackie, for your advice on that. And let's get to our awards. And then there's more time at the end for post toasties, etc. But for those who need to leave, we can adjourn in a moment. I need to scroll back now to our votes. I keep losing it. Okay, awesome job with a tie for our table topics today. Nancy and Margot. Nancy and Margot, bravo. It's a tie. Best evaluator, Mark. Mark needs to keep leading evaluator workshops all the time. When he's an evaluator, we definitely learn. He's one of our strongest evaluators. The best speaker for today, David Jones. Bravo. Handing you your ribbon, sir, in North Carolina. Thank you all very much, and I will adjourn this meeting for the good of the order. Stick around if you have more announcements or would like to toast or chat. And see you next week in person. We're picking up Mary early. She'll be inducted probably the following week or the week after. So we have time. Maybe we'll wait till October and do a lot of fall inductions and hopefully get a bunch of new YMCA guests with our call to action. There are tons of people there in and out, but bring your friends, bring your family, anyone who is a not yet know they're a Toastmaster, like David said. So adjourn.